Okay, fellas, we have a situation here in Nigeria. What's up, everybody? You know I love you very much. It's always a great pleasure to talk to you. Nigeria is a lovely place, man. Lovely country, lovely people. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to get into details. We have an issue in Nigeria. Okay, there is a mall, shopping center, if you prefer, built by Chinese people or occupied by Chinese people. You know, that does not allow Nigerians, nationals, to commerce, to buy, to visit, to see.
Externally, inquiries have shown that yes, as at this morning, this supermarket was open to discriminate against any person who has any desire, intention to patronize any shop. It's a public shop. It's a public access with facility and also business.
Is that something that's acceptable? How do you get the courage? How do you get to a point where you can come to an African country and feel comfortable to build something for yourself and only have your own people to attend? Can you do that in China? I don't know. Can you do such thing? Can you go to any other country and just open something where it's exclusively your people and you said very clearly no other people is allowed? I don't understand that. And what bothers me the most is the amount of time that the Nigerians have taken before tackling this situation. I can explain to you why. It's whatever you call it. Black people are not allowed into that community. Now you know why? What empowers them? Because whenever a black person has an issue with a Lebanese person in an African country, you will see the Lebanese call a general or a police director or a commander, and they will take the gentleman that's black, they will throw him in jail. That's exactly what happens in many African countries. So these people have become entitled. And the Chinese people do the very same thing. As soon as they leave China and come into Africa, the first thing they do, they reach out to a governmental official. After a government official, they reach out to a military or security official, higher graded, general or colonel. So they have a direct number. In case they have any issue, they will contact immediately that person. And once they have an issue with the person, now even when they're wrong, they call the general. The general send his men. His men will take you without asking you questions. That's the reality of Africa. And that brings me to the question, do we Africans really love ourselves? Do we love each other? That's a good question we need to answer. How can people come into Nigeria, build a mall or build a shopping center and refuse entry to Nigerian nationals? And people find it like, yes, at the end, they called them up and the owner of the building disappeared. He ran away. But how long until that happened? That's my question. How many frustrated hearts? How many broken spirits? How many injured souls? How many people felt insulted before we got to that level? Let me give you a very simple example. Okay, let's go to Zambia. Cooperates very, very much with China, which is not a bad thing. But China has a very strong influence in Zambia. Okay, they build hospitals, they build roads, they build schools, they build many things. Yeah, so now they feel entitled. In China, there was a restaurant that was Chinese restaurant, exclusively Chinese. No Zambian person could get into the restaurant. There was a young man who happened to be a boyfriend or married the Chinese lady. And they decided, because they lived in China together, to go to a Chinese restaurant and eat together. As soon as they got in front of the restaurant, they said to the woman, you can come in, not the man. We only allow Chinese people in this restaurant. Can you do that in somebody else's country? And it took time. It was very difficult for the governor to just issue an order to have this restaurant shut. It was unbelievable.
Two other guys were in front of us. They went in, these Chinese nationals. They went in. So when my wife and I were going in, there was this lady behind the counter. She was shouting something. She was yelling something. So for me, I just looked at her, but then I couldn't understand. So I walked in again. Then she repeated the same phrase. So at this time, I looked at my wife because she was looking in my direction. So I looked at my wife. My wife had stopped moving. So I asked her, what is she saying? So the lady said, foreigners are not allowed in this shop. So I thought to myself, in my mind I was like, oh, how does she know my wife is, not from Zambia? Then my wife said, oh, she means you are not allowed in the shop. That's when I was confused. Foreigner? I am the foreigner in this situation. So she said, then my wife asked the lady, what do you mean? She said, oh no, the Chinese can come inside. You have to wait outside. You can't come in.
Crazy. And this very same thing has happened in Nigeria, where there was a restaurant by Chinese, and this restaurant only allowed Chinese nationals. No Nigerian person could go to that restaurant. How do you get to that level?
So, my friends and I have been asked to leave this Chinese establishment, a restaurant too, simply because we are black. In Nigeria! That's all I have to say.
How stupid do you need to be to allow somebody to come into your house and set the rules and look at you like you're a sack of potato and be ready to fight you? We've seen many incidences of things that are unacceptable. In Kenya, they created something where Kenyans were not allowed to attend. Unacceptable. There was even one that insulted the president of Kenya, Chinese national, because they feel entitled. He says everybody's a ooh. I'm not going to say it because everybody's a ooh, ooh, ooh. Everybody's a ooh, ooh, ooh. The only reason why he's in Kenya is because of money. So they ask him, so you're in Kenya because of money? Money of who? Who? You know who? You say, yeah, everybody's a who. Even the president's a who. But props to Kenya, they threw him out right away. That's what you need to do. You will never go to China and disrespect the president. My brother, you won't survive. They will throw you in jail, maybe they chop you something. You'll never survive. You'll never go to China and do illegal stuff. You're going to spend 200 years in jail. Okay? You'll never go to China and create a restaurant and say, this is exclusive to my people. You Chinese people are not allowed. They won't allow you to do that. They will not. They'll make you pay for it. So why can't Africa make themselves respected? I understand Africa needs China for development because Chinese build good railways. They can do good infrastructure. They have the ability to do that. But you cannot leave the West so you can become colonized by Chinese. No. There should be a level of respect. There should be limits on things they can do. There are many sad stories by Chinese in Africa, and I'm not even against Chinese people. Okay? In Zimbabwe, Chinese hired some people to work for him. They worked for him. At the end of the month, he was supposed to pay them salaries. He didn't pay the salaries. The Zimbabweans went to the Chinese men asking him to pay the money. Please pay me my salary. It's overdue. The Chinese pulled the... I'm not going to mention it. It pulled... Then he... Yeah. Guess what was done to the Chinese? Yeah, you're right. Congo, a Chinese man, again, with issues with the Congolese people. He pulled on... Like, how do you get to that level?